God, I'm doing this to glorify you. Like the reason why I'm giving is not so I get something back. It's to honor God. God, thank you for the blessing of what you've done, that you've given me. I get to steward and manage this thing that you've given me. Why wouldn't I give it back to you?
I'd like to start every episode with a proverb. Today's proverb is Proverb 3, 9, and 10. Do you want me to read it there, Glasses, or you got it? You got it.
I got the glasses, baby. I can read with my
Let's go.
glasses, man. It says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing. I read it again. Anytime we read Scripture, we like reading it twice so you really grasp it. It says, honor the Lord with your wealth, with the first fruits of all your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing. This, as we get into the concept of giving and tithing, very often when and I'm speaking for myself personally, when I knew the Bible talked about giving, I knew that there was a call to my life to be a giver, but I always felt like I was in a mode of life where I was just hanging on and barely getting by. And so when you have that mindset, we look at God as tipping him. You know, at the end of it all, if there's just a little bit left over, then, you know, if there's something there, then maybe I give him, maybe I won't this week. And the consequences of that is that it can consume your entire life, your finances, to where if you are poor with them for a very long time, then we miss out on the opportunity to, it's the posture of our heart, right? We miss out on the opportunity to be able to give. And it's not because the church needs my money. It's because it shows God that I'm giving to him first, that he is the most important thing in my life, and that I'm choosing to trust him. Unfortunately, if you don't feel like then you can trust, then you'll be captivated by money. You'll be something that you just hoard and hold on to, because that is what is giving you your inner security and your inner peace. And the problem with holding on to money as your security is that money comes and goes. And if money comes and goes, then your security can come and go. And it really shows God that, hey, I don't trust you with all this stuff. And so I think as we read through this old proverb, it says it's honor with the first fruits. And I like this concept of first fruits, because I actually apply this to lots of different areas of my life. I don't always necessarily look at first fruits as my giving. I honor God with my first fruits. That's my time. That's why, like, in the morning, I just like spending my time with God at the beginning of the day, not at the end of the day. Because when I do it at the end of the day, I'm tired, I'm worn out, I've gotten beat up by the day, I'm ready to go to bed. And now when I'm spending time with God at the end of the day, I feel like I'm just checking this box. And so I don't want to be a box checker with my relationship with Christ. And so this concept of first fruits, you can, and we'll get into this, I guess, throughout the show, but, you know, even when you're paying off debt, you can give you your first fruits. And I think it just really shows God that you put your faith and trust in him.
That sounds so great, man. I'm totally with you. What you were talking about is famine mentality, hand to mouth. I make barely enough to get by. God, what could I possibly give you? You know my wages. I barely have anything. Mm-hmm. Boy, I've been there. You know, I grew up, obviously, I've talked about this a bajillion times. That's what happens on shows like this, where you do a lot of episodes, you end up kind of repeating some of the stories so you can give context to things. So that's what I'm going to do here. Grew up super poor, man. And my family's always been poor. I come from generational poverty. And it becomes part of what's ingrained in how you approach money and how you approach the world, is like you're hoarding everything up and you're counting everyone. And the interesting thing about that is you end up, I've heard this saying, and it just strikes me. And ever since I heard it, I'm always watching myself to make sure I'm not doing it, but it's tripping over dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
Bro, I remember being a child, and my mom we would get like green stamp books. Nobody probably knows what those are anymore. This is before food stamps. You'd also get food stamps too, but green stamps you could bring into places that were as good as money. And my mom would do that linked with coupons and linked with the food stamps and WIC and all these different like little governmental things and things that she could do to capture whatever little amount of money. And I remember watching her, and it would take a lot of time for her to put together all these little books. She would have these little pamphlet books that she'd bring with into the store, and she'd be flipping through them to find the right coupon. Here's a coupon for double back on Thursdays and stuff. All this craziness. Mm-hmm. And it took a lot of time. She had to organize that before she'd get to the place too. And I remember thinking, like, certainly as an adult now, I think, boy, couldn't that time have been invested in making money rather than trying to save extra little amounts of money? Maybe?
Hours she would spend doing that.
For sure, hours. You got to cut it all out of all the magazines that she would get, and she'd have to go around collect these magazines to get these coupons, and then she'd have to run to different stores to use them because you can't use all the coupons in one store. I mean, it was like, this is a real racket in a game. Now, my mom's a hustler. She thought she was hustling. She hustled a lot of other stuff. She used to hustle cheese. I've told you those old stories. But like, my mom was a hustler. She grew up, she was taught how to hustle. And it took, and you know, sometimes we talk about this and other things. Like I also come from a heavy alcohol family. And it takes like these generational change agents. And that's who you and I are for our families. It's like there's been some serious change that you and I have done that breaks some of the shackles of the past. And one of those things is finance, you know, and in the way that I look at it. And I try to make a dollar, not pinch a penny. And that has opened my mind up to the way to being faithful. Because really, to make a dollar, it's meaning I'm trusting God more. So as I go about here, Proverbs 3, 9, and 10, honor the land with your wealth, with your first fruits of your crops. Then your barns will be filled to overflowing. I think that's very similar to what you have there. Two different versions, but same thing. And it's like, once I came into communion with Christ, he's helped me reshift the way I see money. Now, he's done that through people, the people I associate with, mentors and brothers in Christ, and my wife, who also grew up in a different money world than I did. Her parents were, when they were poor, they were just very young. You're young, you're poor, kind of. But once they started working, that was gone. And when my wife and her brother came along, like they were already a middle-class family and lived that lifestyle. And you're right. What's this first fruits thing? That means right when you get anything, split off some for God. Right away. Why? Because you want to, when my wife has success, I want her to call me first and share it with me. Why? Because I love her.
Yeah.
And because I'm impressed by her. And when she calls me, and I go, have you told your parents yet? And she goes, no, I called you first, goofball. Man, that feels good. Right?
For sure it does, man.
It's like so special when she does that. And then I'm like, well, you got to call them now. But like, I got that first joy. Everything I'm told, everything we feel is a shadow of what God feels. Like, we're only able to love because he loves. Imagine how joyful God is then. If I'm this joyful when my wife calls me, it moves me emotionally. Imagine how joyful God is when we have success and we thank him. And when we invite him into that success with us.
Yeah.
How incredible is that? And I don't think we look at it from that angle, and we should. And I think that we do now, but I don't think I did. I always looked at it as like, I got to give some money to who and in the church, and I don't trust the church, and what are they doing with my money? And, we'll get into why that's so short-sighted. The second piece is, so that's trust. You said that. But the second piece is like this abundance, this barns will be filled.
Your vats will be overflowing.
Or your vats or barns will be filled to overflowing. Like, that's not money. And I like that people would go,
it can be.
It certainly can be.
Right, it can be.
But you said it. Time, talent, and treasure. Is yours only money that you give to God?
No.
Me neither.
No.
Look
at what we're doing right now.
This is part of it, but I think like we do plenty of stuff outside of this.
For
and
sure.
I certainly watch you do plenty of stuff outside of this that is your time and it's your talent and, yes, your treasure. But it's like joyfully giving that to God. You are, sometimes if I give my money, I feel good inside. And the reward is like this joy that I have or this contentment or this peace. It's not always going to be, I put in 10, I get 20 back. But sometimes that happens. And then you go like, okay, God, what's up?
I'll
and
share,
I can see
I'll share
why.
a time in my life when I saw that, when I've seen God do that. But
Sure.
like you just said, it's not the reason, my reasoning why I do that is
It
not.
can't be.
Yeah.
And don't let it be is what I'm saying.
Even more important.
Just, that is not, watch for the thing. When you do the right thing, when you are generous with your time, talent, and treasure, open your eyes larger than you've ever opened them and just say, God, where are you in this? And wait for the outcome, because it's going to blow. It'll knock your socks off if you're paying attention. If you're not just monofocally in on the money thing, but you expand your vision out and you start looking at some of these other things going on around you, the people, places, and things around you, you will start to see things shift.
Absolutely. In your time, talents, and treasures, the way that God opens opportunity for you to utilize your time, talent, and treasure, not just your treasure, but God has gifted you with certain and specific things that you can do and do them well.
Yep.
And so when we steward them well, God will create opportunity for you to use them well, because we're always looking at this going, we need to be, I shouldn't say we need to be looking at this going, God, I'm doing this to glorify you. Like, the reason why I'm giving is not so I get something back. It's to honor God. God, thank you for the blessing of what you've done, that you've given me. I get to steward and manage this thing that you have given me. Why wouldn't I give it back to you? And you said it, which I think is so important that people hear it. It's not just we do that with our money. It's like, God, you've given me this specific set of talents. I need to utilize these talents, not just to make money for my family, although that's the most important thing I'm doing there.
It's a huge thing.
Yeah, but outside of that, what can I do with the gift set that you've given me so that I can help be a blessing to other people, and to show other people that they can give away their talent as well. And that's our mode of operation here, is we want you to see what we're doing, and then you do what we're